Hello, I am Dominique Perrier and you're watching Live Prog.
Hello there, welcome to the Live Prog Report. I am your host Marcel Haster and I'm bringing you the second edition of, well, my report. In this report I'm going to focus on one item only, one event that I recently attended and well, very much impressed me, and I really wanted to share it with you. Well, basically I want to take you on a sort of a trip to that event, but a little background information. In April 2012 I attended the E-Day Festival, an electronic music festival which is held once a year in Theater the Enck in the lovely city of Oirschot, close to Eindhoven. And I was there, well, not the whole day, but been part of it, and I really enjoyed the atmosphere there, and I really loved the music. So, well, when I had the opportunity to go to the next event, which was E-Live on October 27th, of course I took it. And, well, there was a lot of reasons for me to go there. There were a lot of great musicians coming there. Some truly amazing ones, even a real legend, and I had the opportunity to go there and have a chat with them and capture the day, and that is what I'm here to bring you. But there was also another reason why I went there. Some people may notice that I'm giving a little bit of attention to a certain very young Dutch musician called Syntax, who released his first album there called Pythagoras. Now, Syntax is, well, he's just turned 14, he's very young, so it's his first album, and he's my son, so I'm very proud of that. And at the E-Live Festival, he was there to present his first album. So another very special reason to be there. Now, why don't you follow me and let's have a look at the main hall in the Enck and see what the atmosphere and the mood is like.
Ja. Dames en heren, welkom allemaal bij eLive 2012. Ik wilde even doorgeven dat over 5 minuten het eerste concert boven begint van de heren van AKS. Willkommen alle zu eLive 2012 und ich wollte nur kurz durchgeben, dass oben das Konzert von AKS in 5 Minuten anfängt. Ihr könnt durch die Treppe da hoch und dann kommt man in den extra Raum und da sind die Jungs von AKS. And also in English, I know we've got some English people in the house. In 5 minutes, welcome to 2012. La la la. And within 5 minutes, the concert of the guys from AKS will start upstairs. And the stairs to go upstairs are there at the side of the entrance. So, and I hope you enjoy the day and see you later in the main hall.
As you can see, this is clearly the place to be if you are crazy for electronic music, or even if you're interested in electronic music, because the eLive Festival, and the same goes for the eDay Festival, they're basically the same but in different times of the year. That is the place to meet for electronic music fans, to enjoy the music, to enjoy each other's company, and of course to check out all the new releases, because all the well, important labels and all the important people who bring you the music are there. So it's a very interesting place to be. Okay, let's talk about the music. The first act that started off the day was Glenn Main from Norway. Now, I've seen a little bit of him on YouTube, and I gotta say I was very impressed by him, and I was really looking forward to meet him and see him perform. Well, here's a part of his performance and a nice interview I had with him afterwards. Enjoy Glenn Main from Norway. we're here in the dressing room of Theater de Enck in Oirschot. Well after E-Live has finished. It's very late. I'm here with Glenn Main from Norway. How did you enjoy the festival?
It was very nice. It's so nice, so many nice acts, and I had a great time.
Okay. Have you ever performed in Holland before?
No, this is the first time. First time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a debut here. Okay,
yeah.
Well, that's very nice.
Yes.
Oh, a privilege. A little bit because, I've seen some things on Facebook and on YouTube about you, but I'm a little unfamiliar yet. So, can you tell a little bit about your musical past?
Yeah, I've done lots of things. Electronic-wise, I started off in 2008 do my first album, but I've been playing music since I was just a kid. So I've been playing in lots of different bands and stuff. So I've done lots of things. But it's like this music it's me, So finally I get to do what I wanted to do.
Okay, and then what made you go into electronic music?
That was my first album that I got on not an album, on a cassette. Was Oxygen with Michel Jarre. I used it for my headset for ages, and I was like, oh, that was so nice music. So I got my first synthesizer, a Korg MS-20, and I was playing around with it, and I was hooked, really hooked. But in the meantime, I've been playing rock and roll and all kinds of things.
Okay, that's nice that you mentioned Jean-Michel Jarre. Because I have to be honest. I mean, when I hear your music, I hear a very influence in it.
Yeah, that's true. It's it's a part of my growing up with music. So I guess it's behind in my back of my head all the time. So yes, I like Jean-Michel Jarre, of course. So,
yeah. Okay. And do you in Norway? Do you perform a lot?
Not so much really, but more and more. So I have a few gigs here and there. So it's been quite a few like outdoor big concerts with lasers and fireworks and really nice stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That's the kind of things we don't see that much. So it's nice to see there. And I'm a bit interested, of course. I mean, how did you end up here at this festival?
That was, I know Ron from many years before, and he asked me if I wanted to play here, or maybe I asked him if I could play. I don't remember, but anyway, we decided to come here this year.
Okay, that's very nice. Now, if I'm correct, you also have a new album out?
Yeah, that's right. An album called Ripples. It's just been released by the AD Music. It was released now in June this year. So, yeah, it's quite new, yes.
Okay. Can you tell a little bit what the album is about?
Well, that album is it's a very emotional album because it contains lots of piano stuff because I play a lot of piano, and because my previous albums has been more synth albums, but this is more maybe a little bit into new age and more ambient stuff, but it's still my stuff. And many people say that actually now Glenn has found himself in that album, so that's very nice. I like it.
Okay, well that's of course nice to hear. So we can expect maybe more of that kind of music in the future.
Oh yeah, and of course mixed and blended with all my other stuff. Yes. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Well, it was nice to see you on stage. I really enjoyed the performance, and nice to meet you as well. So, thank you for that, and well, good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the other reasons I had to go to the E-Live Festival was the fact that a very special performance was scheduled basically at the last minute. It was just moved in from a true legend, Mr. Dominique Perrier. Well, if you're familiar with Jean-Michel Jarre, you definitely know him because, well, he performed with him for many years on stage and on album. So he was there with his own band called Space Art, which was something that he already started up in the late 70s. and it was a real treat to see him. And well, I had the pleasure of meeting this man and having a little chat with him. Despite the language barrier, we just managed to have a nice conversation with each other. So, well, check out some of the performance of space art and the chat that I had with Mr. Dominique Perrier afterwards.
Optical illusion. Optical illusion.
we are here at Theater de Enck in Oirschot in Netherlands at the eLife Festival. And well, next to me, Mr. Dominique Perrier. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Fine, fine, very fine.
I must say, I really enjoyed the show. It was, it was very nice to see you. Well, for me, for the very first time. But of course, you're making music for many years. When did you start?
At 5 years.
Okay.
It's a long time.
Yeah, and was it all immediately keyboards or also other instruments?
Keyboards.
Yeah.
Yes. Oui.
Okay.
And violoncelle, cello. Mais not very long time.
Did you also have musical parents?
Musical?
Parents?
Tes parents, ils étaient musiciens.
Yes.
Okay.
My father was a musician, pianist.
Okay, so that explains a little bit the love for the keys. The Space Art, was that the first group you formed, or did you also have things before that?
I have made several groups. I have made Bahamas and Stone Age.
Okay.
After Space Art.
Okay, after, okay. And in I believe in 1977 you released the first Space Art album?
77, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Now, it's a long time ago, of course, and a lot has happened over the years.
Yes, after I come with Jarre to play in China and in Houston and Hong Kong and Paris. Every concert and the CD, the LP, tous les disques, every CD I made with him since 20 years.
Okay, that's a lot. How did you meet him?
At the Studio Ferber à Paris. Les enregistrements, the recordings of Christophe, un chanteur, the singer. He made the lyrics, and I meet him in 1776.
Okay. It's been a long time since Space Art, and now you are back to it. How did it happen? Why did you go back to Space Art?
Because the drummer, Roger Isitelli, is passed away. And it's for celebrate. I don't know. It's I have une envie, comme on dit. Une envie. I wanted since a long time to. And my friends, the Stone Age, come with me. The bassist Michel Jarre.
Yeah.
And Alain Pipe à la batterie, drummer, pardon, et Lily Lacombe at the violin.
Okay.
Voilà, I met the group, and we are in the road now, on the road.
Okay, and so do you want to do more things with Space Art, or is it just one thing?
More thing, yes.
Oh,
We rehearse. We rehearse.
No, we rehearse.
We rehearse
Together.
Okay.
together every week.
Okay.
To go in tour.
To bring tour next year.
Okay, that's very nice to hear. So we have a lot of more Space Art coming.
Yes.
Do you all still play with Jarre, or is it? Do you now have your own music?
No, I play everywhere with Jarre, but now I don't play.
So you have time to do your own music?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, that's very interesting. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. It was very nice to meet you and hear the music. And I wish you good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
And I have to say something.
Yes.
Today you were able to hear 2 new songs, because Lily Lacombe sang for the very first time Eternally Revolving. Eternally Revolving. Okay. And it was really the first time. And then you could hear also Fru's Touch, which is the last track you heard today. So it was only for this festival that we do these 2 tracks.
Okay, so we have a very special premiere. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Okay, good luck. Besides the 3 official main acts in the main hall, plus the bonus act, of course, the space art, there were 2 other musical acts, scheduled during the day. And one of those acts, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I managed to see them briefly, because they were playing, when one act was done, they would play and then the next act would be on stage. So it was a very full program, really loaded with music. But nevertheless, very interesting. It was a collective who named themselves AKS, and they had an upper room and they filled it with their synthesizers and modulars and lots of stuff, and they made incredible music, and they played 3 different sets throughout the day. So check out a little piece of AKS. scheduled act in the main hall of the day was a Dutch act, and also a few amazing musicians and a few very nice people as well. Mr. Gert Emmens and Mr. Ruud Heij. Now, I was, going in there and wasn't prepared to have a chat with them, but it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun talking about their music. Also, they had an interest in progressive rock, which is of course something, well, I am known for as well. So it was nice to have a chat with them as well. But they also made some amazing music, so check it out. at Theater de Enck in Oirschot at the E-Live Festival. And with me are Mr. Gert Emmens and Mr. Ruud Heij, who are going to perform here later today. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you as well.
How are you doing?
We're doing quite
well.
Quite well. Actually, we are killing the time a little bit because, well, we were here at 10:15 this morning. At this moment, it is 3:20, and we have to perform at 7 o'clock tonight. So there is a lot of time to, well, think all our sins over.
Well, there's a very nice couch here, so. I understood you have a new album out recently. Can you tell a little bit about the album?
Well, it's a concept album. Actually the album is about a man that is entering a huge, he's an adventurous man and is entering a huge swamp somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah, and he, at the end of the day, he finds himself lost in the swamp and he cannot find a way out of it anymore. So he has to try a way to survive in it, and he manages to do that. And by doing that, he slowly becomes one with the nature around him, which is causing a huge change within him spiritually. So he lives in the swamp, but by discovering more and more of it, one day he discovers a spot that he has been before, and he recognizes as a spot that he was on his first day while he entered this swamp. So he has a choice now. So will he get out of it, back to his old world again, and getting back to where he was into, or will he turn back into the swamp because he has become so one with it? That's actually the concept of the album, and in music it means that compared with our previous albums, there is some more ambient spherical music on it to tell the atmosphere in the swamp. Now you should answer the next question because I've done so much.
Yeah, we did it a little bit different than we used to do, and we want to experiment a bit with ambient music, and we thought it would fit quite well in this concept because nature is, yes, it's all around us. Him, I mean, and overwhelming, and yes. So,
which does not mean that there is no sequence on this album. So
no, don't worry. But it's it's also quiet moments inside it, and that's why we decided to put in also non-sequencing tracks for it to change.
Well, the album is nearly 80 minutes, but almost half an hour of the album is ambient, pure ambient music. Yeah. So there will be still 50 minutes of sequence music, but there's half an hour is ambient music.
Okay. You have a bit of a nice way of working together. You both have your roles in the music.
Yes, it happened quite some years ago, about 10 years ago, that we met. Gert wanted to ask me something about analog synthesizers that I have, and so I invited him over, and we just decided to do a session just out of the blue, just to see what happened.
I remember that it was on our first album. I think it was the first track that we collaborated on. There was a track that Ruud, I forgot the title, sorry. There was a track that Ruud once more or less finished on his own, and he wanted a solo, a synth solo on one of the parts of the...
Return to the origins. That's the second track.
Yeah, okay. So, and then I think you asked a couple of musicians before to play the solo in it, and they were not satisfied.
I was not satisfied.
You were not satisfied. That's a huge change. Yeah, huge difference. You were not satisfied with them, and then actually where we started with was you asked me, okay, give it a try, maybe you can, because it was a very nice track actually, a very good track what you made. And so I think I played 3 solos.
Yes.
Three recordings, and one of them was
Yes.
fortunately,
Yes.
okay, good enough for to release it.
That's what I was looking for, because I cannot do it myself. I had to ask others to give it a try, because I thought it would be a shame to put this track aside and never do anything with it, because it was made on a huge Moog modular system and with a huge sound. And I played some ambient stuff with it, chords. I do play some chords, so now every now and then.
You can play chords. You can play chords.
And but soloing is quite difficult. Couldn't find the right sound. Couldn't do the right solo, so I asked different musicians if they could give it a try, but failed. And then I asked Gert, that was quite some years later, that's when we met, if he could do that. And he did 3 versions, and one of the versions I found
on the mini Moog.
Okay.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, and that was the start of your working relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many albums did you make together?
Well, our 6th album has just been released. I must say that there has been another album in 2010. We released an album in which we were both involved, and actually it is more or less sounding as an Emmens and Heij album. But we released it under the name of Kubeschnitt because one of the Ruud was once a member of Kubeschnitt, and there was another member of the old Kubeschnitt involved in this album, whose name is Tom Coppens. He's from Belgium.
He's here today as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yes.
So we thought, and after all, it was not such commercial-wise, it was not such a good idea. What if we release this album under the name of Kubeschnitt, since Tom Coppens is involved in it and Ruud as well. And but the album actually is sounding, Ruud and Tom made the basics on arpeggios, sequences. Yes. So I got the music and well, actually finished the sequences and arpeggios to tracks, and then we decided to release it under the name of Kubeschnitt. But actually, it's much more sounding like an Emmens and Heij album. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Kubeschnitt albums, but it's much more experimental electronic music, and we make quite melodic music. So when there is a Kubeschnitt album is released, then people expect Kubeschnitt music rather than Emmens and Heij music. And since Kubeschnitt was already more or less dead for 10 years, this album became a commercial disaster.
Yes.
Because if you see the album, you think it's a new Kubeschnitt album rather than
Emmens and Heij.
But I think I'm repeating myself.
No, that's okay. But we thought it would be a good idea at the time, and because Gert said I was a member of Kubeschnitt and Tom Coppens, but the other 2. One of them went his own way. He stopped doing music, and the other one formed another band, if I'm not mistaken. And on a day, Tom Coppens asked me if he could do a session with me again, for old time's sake. And nostalgia. And so we met, and the rest Gert told you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's nice to hear. Yeah.
I would like to. No one is going to see this, of course, at the festival, because I was going to add to it that we are selling the album at the festival today for only €5. But why am I telling this? Because this is not being broadcasted on this day already.
It's not live, unfortunately.
So actually, it's not honest that I'm telling this, because when people see this, they say, "Oh my God, I should have gone to the Edith festival." Yeah. Because the Kubeschnitt album was there for €5 only, and now I have to pay €12 again, 13, for it.
Yeah, but it can also make sure that people now know that they missed something by not being here, so they know that next time they should be there for things like this.
Yes, yes.
So it's still good. It's still good to say that.
Exactly.
E-Day in April 2013.
Yeah.
Well,
Then we
who
will
knows? You have the
celebrate
album
20
again for €5.
Maybe it will be a big hit then, because everybody knows about it by now. Because people maybe passed it, and because it was quite some time ago, people perhaps didn't remember or recognize that there was a new Kubersnit album out. They forgot about Kubersnit, and that's maybe another reason.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, one last thing then to wrap it up. You also had another album out with Cadenced Heaven.
Yes, for Cadenced Heaven. That's another. It's another collaboration indeed. It's a long distance collaboration, and the main difference with these collaborations is that Ruud and me are playing in real time together, and so mostly in Ruud's studio in Utrecht. So we interact on each other, and that's quite different from making music with someone who's living at the other half of the planet. And we used to we have to use the World Wide Web for it to create something.
Okay. So it's a different experience than working with someone you can see.
Yeah, well, of course the style of music is different as well, because Cadenced Heaven is not Ruud Heij, and they are quite different in their approach of making music.
Yeah, because Cadenced Heaven is, can I say...
these red lights are really funny.
Is more into ambient things, I think. And I'm more specialized in sequences. Yeah. And Gert is very good. Gert is very good keyboard player, and I'm not. So we.
Come on.
Okay. And we do also things together that I can do. Gert does, and the other way around. Yeah. And together we do ambient things. I do some chords as well, of course. It's not that dramatic, but yeah, that's quite a different approach. We know each other's limits or strengths, better to say, and we work on that. We work with that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for having a chat. Good luck with the album and good luck with the performance later on. Another performance that was scheduled as a sort of a bonus on the day was a performance scheduled in the area where, well, you had the main entrance, you know, where you had the CD stands and where people could get a drink and have a chat with each other. Well, at the stand of Mannequin Records, Mr. Mario Schönwalder and Mr. Thomas Vanger performed an analog set there. So they just put up some keyboards, put up some speakers. They had another musician, unfortunately I don't have his name, but playing guitar as well, and well, that was also a real treat, and it was very crowded there at that moment, so it was, well, it was a lot of fun to see, and well, I just managed to capture a little bit for you so you can get an impression of how that was. you can imagine, it was a very filled day. There were no less than 6 different musical acts performing there. There were a lot of people to chat with, there were a lot of CD stands, a lot of great music to check out. So, well, it was absolutely a fantastic day with so much to discover. eLife is really a festival that has a lot to offer to anyone who likes music. And even if you're not really a big fan of electronic music, I think it is really worthwhile to go there, because you will certainly discover a lot of beautiful new music that is sometimes even closely related to progressive rock. Now, then we come at the end of the day, and it was a long day. It started around 1, it ended around 11:30, so it was a long day. And the last act to perform was Mr. Bernd Kistenmacher. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to do a small interview with him, so hopefully one day we can make it up. I did meet him, had a small chat with him, but I absolutely enjoyed his set. So that is what I'm going to leave you with. I hope you enjoyed this Live Prog report on eLife. Enjoy the music of Mr. Bernd Kistenmacher, and well, I hope to see you at a new Live Prog report, but check out liveprog.com for the reviews as well, because also a lot of electronic music reviews will be coming there. So, well, enjoy the music and see you next time. Thank you for watching.